Hello, Mesa College. Please stay tuned for the transfer report for spring of 2022. If you would like to get Flex for this presentation, you need to register and self-report your attendance. The Flex number is 11596. Today, we are going to cover some of what's happening in the transfer center around campus in the state. We're going to start with welcome and introductions. Mesa Students Talk Transfer, provide a transfer center overview, pre and post COVID-19 highlights, highlight the DSPS experience with one of our counseling faculty in the DSPS office, Joseph Pritchett. We're going to cover transfer data, some transfer bumps and fixes, and transfer partnerships, and go over data, resources, and transfer reports if you would like more information or more resources on how we gather this information. Okay, first we have Gabriel Adona. He is a counseling faculty and PERG instructor. Also, as mentioned, Joseph Pritchett from the DSPS office. He's counseling faculty. A member not with us today, but definitely an active part of our board is Tracy Tuttle. She is business accounting faculty. Student representative is Elsa Correa. My name's Ann Hedekin. I'm the transfer center coordinator and personal growth instructor and counseling faculty. And our lovely transfer center team is with us today. We have Giti Nimatolahi and Mary Garcia and Macy Gerber round out the rest of our counseling transfer faculty. So very happy to have them with us today. And here's a picture so you can put all the names and faces together. So we are going to continue moving. And first of all, I'd just like to share some voices from the transfer center. So I'm going to turn it over to you all.
Yes, so one of our students mentioned to utilize the transfer center. They are very knowledgeable about the transfer process and will guide you throughout the process.
One of our students said, meet with the counselor to ensure everything is required at least a year before applying out, staying on top of deadlines, and if you are unsure about a requirement, reaching out.
And another student mentioned that ask lots of questions, even if they're common sense to other people. Utilize anything you are given and work ahead of time.
Thank you all. And that is great advice from our students during the fall of 2021 application period. And I think all of us would agree that that's all very good advice from transfer students. Okay, just a reminder, Transfer Center has mandated guidelines from Title V. We're created through the advent of the EOPS offices. And one of the innovations there was to create transfer centers to identify and increase the number of students who choose to transfer and are prepared to transfer. So traditionally, they looked at minoritized groups and underrepresented groups and also expanded that definition to include in most recent years with students with disabilities, foster youth, veterans, low-income student, first-generation students, and LGBTQIA students. Transfer Center mission and goals. And we thought we would share those with you because we're going to give you a bigger perspective on the vision for success. But the San Diego Mesa College Transfer Center is the focal point of transfer activities and up-to-date information for our diverse college community. We provide resources and support to empower students to become experts of their transfer educational goals and transition to a four-year institution. And to support that mission statement, our goals are to empower students, faculty, staff, and administrators with knowledge, transfer knowledge to create a stronger transfer culture at Mesa, and therefore increase the number of transfer students, increase the level of service to meet the demand of transfer students, and strengthen partnerships and collaborations with the greater transfer community. And my hope is through this presentation, you'll see how we try to achieve those goals. And I think we're doing pretty well. And I would say Mesa College has a very strong transfer culture. And as you see through the presentation, the data should support that. On a statewide level, we're all driven by the vision for success. There are some that pertain specifically to the transfer center more than others. So we look at vision goal number 2 to increase transfer by 35% to the UCs and the CSUs. And of course, we are concerned about, reducing the number of units students pursue that are not needed for transfer. We're very cognizant of that issue. We do support CTE students. Sometimes transfer students find that maybe their goals change, and we will support them with that if they move over to CTE. But we also are committed to reducing and erasing equity gaps and eliminating regional gaps. And then the commitments are on the right side. And these kind of overlap with all the vision and goals. Focus on student goals, design with students' experience in mind, pair high expectations with high support, evidence-based decisions, own student performance, cross-system partnership, thoughtful innovation and action. And again, I think as we go through this presentation, you'll see how we try to use these in our planning and our transfer plan program. Okay, statewide transfer changes. Most recently, Area F is a new requirement as of fall of 2021. The Chancellor's Office took, and the CSUs agreed to take 3 units out of the social behavioral sciences section and add a separate Area F for ethnic studies. And we are rolling out more and more classes. Right now, we only have 3 courses. However, that should grow in the next few weeks after we get the next round of results that will be released regarding classes that were approved. AB 928, recent legislation as of last fall. This will require all students to be placed on an ADT pathway. A reminder here is that not every school offers an ADT pathway. So this is going to open up a lot of conversation probably in the classroom and in counseling centers about degree options and thinking about career early on. And the other aspect of this was creating one GE pathway, so one IGETC pathway, and doing away with the 2 system path or the 2 GE sheets that we have, and more to come on that. We still don't know what that's going to look like. And AB 1313, this is educational debt collection practices. This has been a lifesaver for a lot of students. And this is one of those things that is sort of a hidden problem in the transfer world and just for students in general. Students have traditionally enforced the practice of withholding transcripts or other documents from students if they owe money. But if a student owes money, is trying to get gainful employment, transfer somewhere else so that they can achieve their goals, if they can't have their transcript, the whole process stops. So this law has helped a lot of our students get their transcripts and finish their degrees. So, and this is again one of the hidden barriers and definitely an access and equity issue that changes the opportunities for students once they know they have this law to stand by and to get their transcripts. All right, and I'm going to transfer this over to Giddy.
Thank you, Anne. So over the pandemic, after COVID started, we tried to adapt to the changes and make sure that all of our services are still available to students. Some of the changes that we had was making the UC Transfer Week online, so virtual events, CSU Transfer Week, and also the AICCU, which is Associate of Independent Colleges and Universities Week, was also available online for students to access and to meet with representatives and ask questions and ask about the transfer process. What we did are during the application season, we offered all the application workshops online. We even tried to have some Saturdays available to working students, making sure that they receive the assistance that they need in completing their transfer applications. We turned into online transfer talks almost daily during the week, offering an hour or 2 to students to just join us and ask transfer questions. We tried to enrich our YouTube channel by recording all of our workshops and adding them to our YouTube, and also adding all other schools and universities available videos in regards to their campus tours or application help, all the assistance available. We gathered them and added them to our YouTube channel, which is a great resource for students. We kept in touch with other universities, four-year universities and colleges representative, and informed the students about their online visits or Zoom meetings on our website. And we did keep our daily appointments and drop-ins via phone or Zoom meetings to answer student questions and connect with them.
And then some of the events that we continued on Zoom were we supported students through live support sessions during the spring and summer transfer talks. They were available online where students could hop on and talk to a counselor regarding anything from their major, application, really anything. We provided an open space for students to have access to counselors and transfer staff. And then we also had our online transfer workshops where we assisted students with their applications, and we tried to have as many openings as possible, and it was all through Zoom.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Innovation Grant for Transfer Students. The Transfer Center was awarded an innovation grant to help students with application and transcript fees. We've dispersed over $1,000 for application and transcript fees, and we are currently granting transcript fee waivers as well.
Okay, next slide is Gabriel.
Hello, everyone. So this is our recipe for transfer. If you look at this tall glass, it represents what it'll take for a student to transfer to a university. You look at the bottom, that's about 60% of what we're going to be doing with the students is 40 units of general education. So it's CSU or it's what we call IGETSI, the Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. So students get to pick their flavor. When we look at this, students will pick the pattern, and it ranges from anything to English, critical thinking, communications, math, humanities, and science. And you notice, like anything in a tall glass, you have to mix that up really well. So we try to get the students to understand what the process is with that. Now, the major prep, once we add that to our recipe here, that always comes prepackaged. What we mean by that is that's the other 20 plus units or 33% of the glass. The prep for the major courses are prepackaged and are predetermined by each university and their majors. Students must, in most cases, complete all of it to complete the recipe. And if it's less than 60 units, then they will also select some transferable electives. We ask that students consult with a counselor before picking their prepackaged major prep so that we can assist them, because some of the major prep packages contain general education courses that we can take and use in the GE to avoid students having to take more units than they have to. And that would be it for our recipe.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, and I'm going to toss it over to Joseph, and he is going to talk about the DSPS transfer experience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Burchett, and basically I'm going to talk about how our students in the DSPS they do transfer. We find that there are a lot of students that have a positive transfer experience, and the only difference is no one would really know that they're in DSPS because of HIPAA rules and things like that. So on our side, we want them to get connected with our services as soon as possible, because we notice that the ones that do connect with us and get accommodations for whatever disabilities they have, they tend to do a lot better than those that don't. And since we have ed plan counseling along with the accommodations in our office, we can kind of, same as like how Gabriel said, we don't want them to take extra classes that they don't need. And so when we talk with our students, we ensure that they're on the right path. And once they're in the right path, what we end up doing is transferring a lot more students. And within the last, well, prior to COVID, we had a lot of students that were starting to go with the transfer process, and they were they were becoming successful with that. And we have a lot of students going to both UC and CSU campuses along with the private universities. And so we always encourage, like I said earlier, encourage our students to connect with us as soon as possible. So one thing that we tell students is once they graduate high school and they start coming to our campus, go ahead and if they have a disability and it's something that was diagnosed, we can go ahead and help them out, get them connected with us, and then get them on the path of transferring. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think next is my slide. We're going to talk about a little bit about transfer volume, which is the actual number of students who transfer. Right now, the most recent data we have, most accurate data is from 2018, 2019. And numbers kind of fluctuate a little bit during COVID. However, we're proud to say that in 2018, 2019, we transferred almost 2,800 students out of Mesa. Out of the entire district for that same year was about 4,800 students, and a lot of those students overlapped that and took classes at Mesa. So we're pretty proud of that. Those are pretty good numbers overall. And then just to look at transfer volume a little bit more by our most popular campuses. San Diego State is #1 transfer destination for our Mesa students, and very exciting this year. We sent 980, we will be sending, or 981 students were accepted to SDSU for the fall of 2022, which is a huge number. That's larger than larger than fall of 2020 and fall of 21. So that's pretty great. Very proud of that. UC San Diego is our next popular destination for Mesa students, and we traditionally send the most in Region 10, which is the San Diego Imperial counties, to UCSD, followed by National University of San Diego and Cal State San Marcos. This number shows the transfer prepared rate by college. So this is not necessarily the amount of students that actually transferred, but these are the students who are prepared to transfer. So again, we can boast San Diego Mesa College has a very strong transfer culture, and you can see that our transfer prepared rate is in the 50% of the students who are attending and who indicate that they want to transfer. So that's a pretty strong number, and we hope to continue that. Let's see, and next slide. I'm gonna toss that over to Mary.
Yes, and these are some of our top transfer degrees. We went ahead and included the top degrees earned by transfer students. As you can see, our top transfer degree is business administration for transfer, a transfer to the CSU system. Our second top transfer degree is psychology for transfer. And then third is communication studies transfer. After that, we have biology, allied health, sociology for transfer, liberal arts and science with an emphasis in business studies, and liberal arts and sciences with emphasis in social behavioral social sciences. Our popular transfer majors are the following: taking the lead, psychology, then engineering, communication studies would be next. And then we have a multidisciplines liberal studies degree, or transfer major, I should say, exercise science, art and fine art, social sciences, and computer information science. So these are some of the popular transfer majors among our students.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna kind of break this down, or maybe go back and look at a bigger picture and then break it down to Mesa. But just to give you sort of a perspective on how popular transferring is, the RP group, which is the research arm of the California Community College Chancellor's Office, reported that over 1 million students indicated on their college applications for community colleges that they wanted to transfer. So the statewide transfer rate, which is the percentage of students who transfer successfully, not the volume, but the percentage, is 30%. Mesa's is traditionally between 40 and 42%. So another kind of indication for our or support of our strong transfer culture, indication of our transfer culture. Just to highlight the vision for success, goal number 2 is to increase the number of students transferring. And we're a part of this success. As you can see over the years, the transfer numbers have increased. There are some, roadblocks that we'll talk about a little bit later, but just the capacity at the CSUs and UCs is starting to become more limited. So transfer is getting more competitive. However, we are preparing our students, and as students are able to successfully transfer. So you do see there are some students transferring to private schools. And there is no data for 2021-22 yet for private schools. Transfer numbers to University of California schools for fall of 2021, if we look at the entire UC system, 92% of UC transfers came from California community colleges. They have a very strong commitment to accept transfer students as part of the transfer plan. For every 3 freshmen, it's a 3-to-1 ratio, 1 transfer student. 601 students from San Diego Mesa College applied to a UC school, and of those 600, 446 were admitted, and then 341 enrolled statewide to a UC. They are traditionally a little bit more competitive. And as far as UC San Diego goes, our second largest feeder school, 185 students were admitted to UC San Diego, which is a great number. We can be very proud of that. Their average GPA was a 3.55 to 3.91. And the admit rate for a transfer student for UC is much higher than a freshman admit rate. So it's 55%, which is excellent. And Mesa, again, has the highest number of transfers to UC San Diego. For Cal State, again, I just want to highlight for fall of 2022, 981 Mesa students were admitted to SDSU. And the CSU system statewide, about 1,500 students applied, 1,200 students were admitted, around 700 enrolled. So that's an 80% acceptance rate and a 50% yield rate, which means that's how many students actually matriculated and started classes. So if we look a little bit more locally again, we can look at San Diego State, 1,200, 1,300 approximately applied, 695 admitted, and then 451 enrolled. Average GPA is 3.37. And then the fall 2020 numbers from the past, like is the continuation towards graduation, our transfer students have an 89.9% rate, which means that cohort is achieving their goal. And so this is all from the CSU Chancellor's website. So some of the numbers kind of don't add up quite right, but overall, I think for San Diego State, this is directly from their webpage. So we know that, and that's a solid figure. We know it's a solid figure based on our history with them. Let's see. Okay, some updates for San Diego State. We continue to partner with the microsite program. It's a BA in communication and a BS in business administration. There are other microsite programs in the area that offer child development and criminal justice. There's still time to apply for fall of 2022. It's June 3rd, 2022. So far, the microsite has 95 students enrolled. The program's fully online. And there are 3 students from the first cohort who are planning to graduate. This is an easy program to go part-time. The classes are offered in fully online 8-week sessions. Usually students take 2 classes per 8 weeks. So each semester they can continue to take a full load, and they offer classes fall, spring, summer. It was announced in the fall of 2020, the new admissions priority program consideration. This is still a new program. This is the first year it's been instituted, but to increase equity and opportunity for students, recruiting Umoja Puente, EOPS, CalWORKS, and HUBU students. And there's more to come on, we'll get more data next year on the success of this program. Okay, and I'm going to toss it back over to Joseph for this slide.
So as our students start to want to transfer and, move on from Mesa College, a lot of them find roadblocks. And so what they see is that maybe tuition is too much money, or they don't have their basic needs, like they're food insecure or housing insecure. And so what we tell a lot of our students is that a lot of the universities now, they're helping out students in these certain areas. So for example, some of the campuses, they'll house students or make the dorm cost a little less. They also provide kitchens for students to go there and get some type of food. Now, as for financial aid, a lot of campuses, they do have their own scholarships built into their stuff. But the big part of it is you have to fill out your FAFSA form, your financial aid form. And regardless if you were disapproved in a prior time or something like that, to keep that going, to update it all the time, you will find that you might not be in that range of financial aid appeal, and you might be able to get a financial aid, either Pell Grants, loans, or things like that. And so these type of things are roadblocks that students don't really know the full aspect of when they're looking at it in the college. So they automatically think, well, if I can't do it, I'm going to just not go to college or go to the university. I mean, the other thing is Wi-Fi. Most campuses now have Wi-Fi. So if a student is not having good Wi-Fi at their house, they can either study on campus, libraries, or coffee shops on campus. So a lot of times the library is open longer hours, so then students can fulfill what they need with online services. Now, for DSPS roadblocks, what we found is that some campuses, I'm not saying a lot, some campuses, they do have issues with the verification of disability. And so what we found is that if a student was diagnosed with something when they were 18 or under 18, and then they turn it into us, we use what's called the interactive process to see that, okay, this student does have a disability and we can go in and help them out. Some universities, they want to see that there's a continuation. So if they've never been seen, if they're not actively being seen by a therapist, let's say, or they're not being seen by a doctor, sometimes the universities will tell them that they have to get a reassessment. And so some of our students have trouble with that, but a lot of times with the fees that you pay for campuses, such as the health fee, and they can help you out with that in some cases. And like I have here, it says reassessing the disability. So if you were diagnosed with a learning disability, you have to get re-diagnosed again when you get to the university. And some of the universities themselves, they do actually will provide the test for you. There might be a wait list and they'll give you temporary services, but they will get you going so then you can have those services done. And then, like I have here, they want to see that you're active. If you're with therapy, they want to see that you're active with therapy care. And sometimes some universities, even though we are at Mesa and we do have an ample amount of accommodations for students, some universities, depending on their ability to house certain things, they might not have all the accommodations that we can provide. What comes to mind for some universities are the alternate media. So we have the capability of changing books into audio form. Some campuses can't do that. And so what we tell students is to talk with, if you're going to a certain campus, if you got accepted to a university, talk with the DSPS services, and they go by different names. For example, San Diego State is SASC, University of San Diego, or UC San Diego is called, I think it's Access Department. And so just looking at what the different names, just talk with them and get them, you'll be able to find out what services you can do. The other part is, a good thing with San Diego State though, is because San Diego State and most CSUs, they only look at your GPA and your units. A lot of times they don't know the whole story. But San Diego State, their DSPS services, they do have what's called a special consideration. And the way that's done is you have to, of course, show your disability verification of disability along with writing a letter. And this letter has a prompt and says, how does your disability affect you while you were in school? And then you go about that, explaining that. The other part of it that they want you to have are 2 letters of recommendations. And I always tell students, the best recommendations that you can get are from your professors in that major. And so what we found with this at San Diego State is, of course, like I said earlier, we can't give you like, okay, this such and such student was provided this opportunity and they got it from the special consideration. But we've noticed a lot more students that were transferring to San Diego State did access this, and they did get to the campus, and then they are successful at San Diego State. So although there are roadblocks for most students, we have found that there are fixes, and a lot of these fixes are just asking the questions either between us or the university you're trying to go to.
All right, very good. Okay, so one of the other kind of building on the roadblocks and fixes, some of the work that's come out of the RP group recommending essential factors for building transfer capacity is looking at university affordability. These are obviously things beyond the scope of Mesa College, but are recommendations and things that we can advocate for through academic senate or other ways. Pathway navigation, we've employed the Pathways program, so it also talking more about career one-on-one and working on entry programs like the ADT tag, things like that. Encouraging school life balance for student, assisting with that education and developing that social capital, as well as support networks, helping students, providing that culture of care, but also the basic needs, validating all students. And again, this is a report from the RP group, Student Voices, which provided feedback on what all of the institutions in the state of California can do to support transfer students. All right, I'm going to toss this over to Macy now.
So next, we're going to talk about transfer partnerships. We have some great ones. SDSU, the SDSU microsite program is one of our great transfer partnerships, specifically for students who are looking to complete a 4-year bachelor's degree online. The microsite program offers students an opportunity to go kind of an alternate way to earn that San Diego State degree. And they also have higher acceptance rates for our students, so that's awesome. We also have a partnership with the University of Redlands in Residence at Mesa program. They offer a Bachelor of Science in Business, and we're going to play this informational video for you really quickly.
Stay tuned. There we go.
Hello, my name is Tom Bosma with the University of Redlands to briefly tell you about the unique partnership pathway program we have with San Diego Mesa College. Through this program, Mesa College transfer students can complete their Bachelor of Science in Business degree with University of Redlands by attending class just 1 evening per week, either online or at the Mesa College campus. This program can be completed in as little as 22 months for under $23,000. An associate's degree is not a prerequisite for admission, so students can start on their business major coursework at Redlands with as little as 40 transfer credits, while continuing to complete the required courses at Mesa College. To learn more about this exciting partnership program, please go to redlands.edu/Mesa.
All right, and that was our rep, Tom Bozeman
Hello,
from
my
Redlands.
name is Tom Bosma with the
Oh,
University of
and
Redlands.
I need to stop that. There we go. All right, and I am going to go to the next slide. Okay, Macy, that's
It's me
You
again.
continue. Yeah, sorry.
So a few more partnerships that we have with universities. UC San Diego, of course, one of our hubs for transfer. We have the University U-Link program for our students who do want to transfer into one of those uncapped majors at UCSD. A lot of great opportunities for guaranteed admission there if students qualify. There's also the UCSD PATH program, specifically for preparing accomplished transfer students in the humanities, and the University Link Medical program. We have a partnership with UC Berkeley Community College's transfer services, and we have lots of opportunities for students to have appointments with UC Berkeley representatives through that. We also have the UCLA TAP program, the Transfer Admission Alliance program, partnership with Honors, and the ITEP program, the Integrated Teacher Education Program. SDSU and National University both partner for those transfer programs for our future teachers.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Giddy.
Thank you, Anne. So we have great resources for faculty and students, and you can find these resources on our website. We have the community college resources where faculty and advisors can find great information and help a student, offering them the tools that they need when they're choosing their major or career. Also, the Data Mart has some great information and data. SDSU ASIR is another website. It's a very good resource to look at the numbers of admissions at SDSU, and UC Info Center transfer by major as well. Some of these resources are great tools for students as well, such as assist.org, where students can check the major preps or look at the transferability of the courses or general education classes, the UCSD majors, and also SDSU TAP. To be continued, we also have some great resources where you can look at the data, the RP group, which is through our Chancellor's office, through the GATE transfer study, RP group infographic with data, and also RP group report for student voices. The data is not, we don't have the most recent data from the 2021, but you can look at this SDCCD transfer report up to 2018, 2019. And we also encourage you to take a look at the transfer dashboard and institutional effectiveness.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank everybody in the Transfer Center and the Transfer Advisory Board for putting this report together and helping us get the transfer news out there. I just want to highlight our contact information. We're in the I-400 building, I-4306, and our phone number is there and the email. We will provide this PowerPoint online, so if you have more interest, you can have access to all the links. And here are some of the reports that were used to fetch the data to create this report. And I just want to thank everybody for listening and thank everybody for participating, and enjoy the transfer tea. And I am going to sign off. Thanks, everybody.